No me menos fascistas.
How rude.
Right.
There.
Something broke in superhero storytelling. Not snap, not crack. Broke. Broke is a joke. And you can trace the fracture line straight through modern DC and right into Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Because over at DC, under James Gunn, there's a pattern forming, and people are starting to notice. Every villain, they full pulled from the same factory. Angry, online, obsessed with power, defined by ideology instead of personality. White Dragon and Peacemaker, full-blown white supremacists. Rumblings about lanterns, conspiracy theorists as villains. Creature commandos, anti-women extremists. And the defense is always the same. These are the bad guys. Nazis have always been the bad guys. Sure, but here's the problem. When every villain starts to look like the same headline, you're not writing characters anymore. You're writing arguments. And now Marvel walks in, sees the blueprint, and decides to go louder. Welcome to Daredevil Born Again Season 2, Episode 1, where subtlety goes to die. Let's start with Wilson Fisk. Once upon a time, Fisk was terrifying. Not because he yelled, because he didn't. He whispered, calculated. He crushed people slowly. And now he walks on screen doing a full channel impersonation of Donald Trump. The cadence, the rhetoric. The eye alone can fix it energy. It's not influence, it's imitation. They don't even bother to hide it. Convicted felon becomes mayor, uses law enforcement as a personal weapon, promises to clean up a broken system, builds a loyal fan base that treats him like a savior. And then the slogan hits. That's not a character arc, it's a headline with better lighting. And look, politics in Daredevil, that's not new. Corruption, power, institutions failing people, that's all baked into the DNA of Daredevil. But this isn't exploration, it's replacement. Fisk used to feel like a force of nature, now he feels like a reference. Then comes the task force. This is where the show stops pretending. They don't introduce them as flawed. They don't introduce them as conflicted. They don't introduce them as human. They introduce them as conclusion. Fascist. Not implied, not debated, announced. There's a scene, early, loud, and impossible to miss. Task force storms a restaurant. Owner spits, calls them fascists. Show nods, moves on.
Task force took him. Which means nobody finds him.
You're not watching a story unfold. You're watching a point being underlined. Again, and again, and again. There's no gray area, no tension, no moral ambiguity. These aren't characters, they're props and riot gear. And then we get to Matt. This is where it actually hurts. Because Matt Murdock used to be the show. Conflict, the guilt, the constant war between justice and vengeance. Now he's out there asking the spit bitch where arms smugglers are so he can protect them. One dude's supposed to go to communist Canada. Wait, what? She's smuggling fools out of New York too? And the show treats this like a minor errand. No hesitation, no moral spiral, no late night confession in church. Nothing. Where's the Catholic guilt? Where's the man you used to question every punch he threw? Gone. Replaced with a guy who moves the plot forward. That's not evolution, that's subtraction. Then we got the big P, Frank Castle. The show knows exactly what it's doing here, because the Punisher has a fan base, a very specific one, and instead of exploring that complexity, they decide to lecture it. We already saw where this was going last season. Anti-cop messaging dialed up. The Punisher symbol turned into a problem to be corrected. Frank doesn't exist as a character anymore, he exists as a rebuttal, a walking disclaimer. Don't idolize this man. Message received. But here's the question. Why is the show more interested in correcting the audience than understanding the character? They got Karen too. Karen Page used to feel real, messy, complicated, human. Now, she in a boss lady arc, because every character has to be optimized now. Streamlined, upgraded, rebranded. It's not growth, it's flattening. Instead of letting her be complex, the show gives her a label and calls it development. And it sticks out, man. Because you can feel the intention, you can see the checklist. And I ain't got time for BB's dumbass right now. She's shitting all over new media. And that's the real issue. None of this feels like it grew naturally out of the story. It feels assembled, like someone sat in a room and said, what are the themes? Okay, now make sure every scene says them out loud. No subtlety, no restraint, no trust. The original Daredevil trusted you. It let moments breathe, let characters contradict themselves, let tension build. This shit? This rushes, it hammers, it insists. Now to be fair, the people behind the show, including Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, have said this isn't intentional. They point to the comics. They say these arcs existed before. They call the parallels coincidence, timing. And maybe that's true. Maybe. But intent doesn't erase impact. Because what's on screen feels ripped from the headlines, and audiences aren't imagining that. They're reacting to it. This is bigger than one episode, bigger than one show. It's a pattern. Modern writing is losing patience, losing nuance, losing the ability to let ideas exist without announcing them. Everything has to be clear, immediate, undeniable, because heaven forbid someone misinterpret it. But in doing that, you lose the thing that made these stories work: ambiguity, conflict, and humanity. Episode 1 is all it took, not to raise questions, but to answer them, loudly, repeatedly, without subtlety. And now the real question isn't where is this going, it's how many times the show going to stop the story to make sure you agree with it. Because if this is the tone moving forward, the Daredevil Born Again Season 2 isn't building tension, it's building lecture. And lectures don't age well. Stories do. Or at least they used to.
Hey man, if you down, like and subscribe. Catch you on the flip side, flapjacks.